So I'll be just showing you this video. This was a patient who had the IOP around 54 millimeter of mercury for last 1 week or so and came from a village. And the chamber was very, very shallow. We gave a retrovator block and did the massage for 15 minutes to lower the IOP. And in spite of that, when I inject the air, you will see that there is hardly any space and the air cannot go inside. So now we tried to stain the capsule and gave a iris hook placed on that side to get a very good dilatation. And I further staining it because I know that it is going to run away. So the peripheral part of this capsule was not stained initially because of the small capsule. So you can put the dye even after putting the viscoelastic. There is nothing wrong. It still you will be having a better visibility. And if you see my iris hooks are placed in a trapezoid fashions. That means they are close to the incision, are very close to each other, so that the pupillary border goes underneath the internal lip of the cornea, and it does not keep on rubbing onto your phaco probe. So you can see that as was expected, this rhexis runs away, and these cases would have been very difficult by any method, whether Jepto or Femto, because there is a central corneal opacity also, and maybe Femto would have been possible. But for Jepto also the space was too less. And once it has run away, we do not want the capsule to come while doing the phaco. So we release and cut it over here. And we need to now, I mean, it makes no difference whether the cut is on the one side or two sides, because once it is a conal cut, it is a conal cut, and it is going to get extended further. So now we need to have a good clear space in the central area to perform the phacoemulsification. We have got a lot of liquid fluid. Now we cut it over there. We do the cut the capsule with the scissor and remove the part of the capsule to make sure. And luckily, this area where we are going to perform the most of the phaco is round and strong. And then we remove this tag also to avoid it coming into the phaco probe. Now we got this absolutely central clear area over there. Now, because of our hook position, the iris is not getting rubbed with the phaco probe. If you would have kept the normal square hooks, the iris would have been lifted up, and with such a shallow chamber, we would have really kept on rubbing the iris and might have caused the dialysis. So in this case, we need to have a little more wider trench instead of doing a direct chop to create and debulk it, to create a space in the central part of the eye. And once this space is good enough and some amount of debulking is done, then we will divide this nucleus into two. Normally, you may not do that much of a trenching or sculpting, but because of the constraint of the space, now the important thing is that we should not give too much pressure into the periphery. Do very gentle separation and do not, and make sure that the at least pressure is not onto this site where the capsule has been cut. Now we prolapse this. The nucleus is not very hard. I mean, it is of course mature, but not very hard. And the phaco parameters are little on the lower side. Normally, if I operate at a 550 or 500, in this case, it will be 400 millimeter of mercury of pressure. Flow rate also it will be little on the lower side, so that the chamber stability is always maintained. So I personally feel that now this half of the nucleus is left. We are just prolapsing it. We are not rotating it. And because it can get collapsed very easily because of the Morganian cataract, and we try to rotate, they are both the sides, they are cut capsular extension, so it may run away over there. So just collapse it, emulsify it. And the key point is always maintain a good chamber depth throughout the surgery. So this is very, very crucial and critical. Now the nucleus is gone, and we put on remove the epinucleus as far as possible, and then we inject a viscoelastic, because this is very difficult to remove the subincisional by the phaco probe, and we will do this by bimanual irrigation aspiration. So my preferred bimanual technique is what I call as a modified bimanual. So I use the main port for the infusion, And this is kept, the cannula is kept obliquely so that there is no leakage. Only disadvantage is if you keep it straight, it will leak. So you can see a good capsule and you can see the quite a large corneal opacity. Again, we inject a viscoelastic before withdrawing the infusion port so that the chamber is maintained. When the chamber collapses, the vitreous may try to bulge forward and the rhexis may run into the peripheral part or into the posterior part. So once this is done, we put on a IUL. And in these cases, of course, normally I do hydroimplantation, but not in these cases. And the loop are placed in such a way that they do not get entangled with the cut margins. And this surgery is complete. And the another important point I will like to emphasize upon that there are two types of rhexis margin tears or extension. One is the curvilinear. When you are making a rhexis, it goes towards the periphery. So if it is a curvilinear extension, the chances of running to the posterior capsule are much less as compared to the conal. This is what happens in a mature or Morganian cataract. You get a conal extension which has got a much higher incidence of running to the posterior capsule. But whenever you are making a young patients and it goes to the periphery, the chances of it's running to the posterior capsule are much less, so far more safer. So thank you very much for your